Yeah, I need a clock. Julia has her mandala ready to go.
I was just thinking, I finally read it in English.
Well, you might as well start us, since you've been so eagerly waiting for us to begin with your mandala.
Sashifuki Chukshineto Tramriravingshi Nyendegen Padi Sange Shindu Nitewa Hidrokunam Shingla Chuparsho Idam Gururatnamalakamnirtayami Sange Churam Sukhi Chokramla Jamchu Bardu Dakni Kepsuchi Daki Jinyin Gipe Sunamki Drola Penchir Sange Triparsho Sange Churam Sukhi Chokramla Jamchu Bardu Dakni Kepsuchi Daki Jinyin Gipe Sunamki Drola Penchir Sange Tripasho Sange Chudan Soki Choklamla Jangshu Bardu Dakni Kepsuchi Daki Jinyan Gipe Sunamki Drola Penchir Sange Tripasho.
So to start class today, we're going to do, we're going to first do a round of ohms, and then we're going to go into meditation. And this round of ohms, we're just going to do like a sea of ohms. So we're not going to, it's not going to depend on when someone starts or finishes it. When eventually, because our breath is all different, that will overlap. And so just get into it. And a nice practice to do when you're doing this kind of thing is as you're ohming, and this may happen naturally, but also be very inward and listen to what's happening inside your body. And you may hear things that, if you're really attentive, you may hear frequencies that don't seem like they're directly related to what you're doing. And I'll ring the bell. I'll ring these bells when it's time to stop. So you don't have to think about, are we stopping now? Are we stopping now? Are we stopping now? Well, I'll just ring it, and then we'll all stop together. So let's all first start by. Leonardo? Okay. Well, we'll just ohm when she can come in. We'll ohm her in. Yeah. So we'll start. First exhale. Inhale. We're ohming you in, Leonardo. Oh. Oh. So keeping your eyes closed or open, if you meditate with your eyes open. Notice if you feel different than when you first came in the room after doing the Om mantra. If you notice a feeling in your body that is pleasant, offer it out to other beings. Don't waste a single thing in your precious life. Even the hum in your heart of doing a few Oms, you can think of offering that out to beings, offer them a pleasant feeling, a peaceful feeling. In your mind, visualize giving someone an instant of peace right when they need it. Maybe they're in the middle of a meeting with somebody, or maybe they're in the middle of a job interview. Maybe they're in the middle of trying out for a team. And give them a moment of serenity. And see them being nervous or having this idea that so much rides on what will happen next. So much rides on the result of whatever I'm trying to do. And steer their mind into peace. Steer their mind into the freedom from that thought. That they're not in control in the moment. And that whatever result may come will be their karma. And that nothing that we do is ever just about this life. So you with your mind, you inject them with this far seeing eye that understands the expanse of their mind that has never began and will never end. So it pulls them away from the small things. And you think to yourself, what am I willing to do? What am I willing to do in this life so that I can reach total enlightenment? What am I willing to endure? How much practice am I willing to do? How many people am I willing to love? And then in your mind, just come up with one thing, one small thing, something that you would do different, something that you would change, that would help you. One little habit that you'll start, or one little habit that you'll stop. It could be something as simple as, I'm going to be a little bit extra mindful about my my thoughts involving other people. I'm just going to be a little bit more mindful. I'm going to see what my mind is doing. Or it could be, I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes every morning. Because what if I don't? What if I don't do any practice? What do I expect? What do I expect is going to happen if I don't? Who will benefit if I don't? Who will benefit if I do? How many people will benefit if I strive to purify my mind? Who will benefit if I don't? And then visualize yourself as being a positive force in the world. All the people around you are benefited by your presence. And it's not because you're doing anything special or obvious. You've just been practicing Lojong for so many years now that the scope, or should I say the area that your mind covers with its love has grown. People don't even know that you're a Lojong practitioner with all these secret dreams and secret wishes and secret practices in your heart about what it is you like to become and what it is you'd like to see others become. And you've been living your life that way for years, day by day, day by day. And now, just you being in the room is a positive thing for everybody. And they don't know how you did it or why you did it or why they feel very comfortable around you and why they want to ask you questions and come to refuge to you. But you love each one of them. And it's just your natural state. It's just your natural state. And you've forgotten about yourself a long time ago. And see that lighting up many, many beings, many, many hearts all around you, and it echoes out. And then you see yourself on your deathbed. You're dying now. Surrounded by people that love you. In your heart, you know that you did the best you could. In your heart, you know that you loved a lot of people and helped a lot of people. And you've practiced so well that you know that the next place for you is going to be very good. You may have practiced so well that maybe some people there will see your body die, but you'll be wide awake. You'll be wide awake, and some people will have the karma and they will see you rise from the dead. Some people won't even think that you died. You'll just change form for them and teach them in a different way. All because years before you decided to change your habits. And one day led to the next. And total enlightenment is your natural state. Nothing more to learn, nothing more to do. Make a little wish that every living being could achieve this. And then we'll come back to the room. And you feel like opening your eyes and coming back. So how did you like the oming in group? Isn't it fun? Or maybe fun's not the right word, I don't know, maybe so. But isn't it feel nice to feel that vibration in your body with other vibrations going on? I experienced that once in a like a large theater setting. There was probably 1,000 people in there. Oh, thank you. And it was amazing. I mean, it was just crazy. I was hearing things that I couldn't have been in the room. You know, like really, really high. It was like there were so many of us doing it. It was like the angels decided they'd just join. They just couldn't leave it alone. And yeah, that's one experience that I'll never forget as long as I live.
How long did you do it for?
Well, probably about 10 minutes. Yeah. You know, I didn't really want it to stop. That could have been just the whole thing right there. They could have just done that and ended.
Yeah.
That would have been fine with me. That's like when I first discovered buffet dinners. When I first moved here, I'd never heard of these places. Like it was like Uncle Willie's. Uncle Willie's, right? You pay $10 or something, you go in there, and you can just keep eating. And I had this new friend, and I was, bachelor living on my own. He's like, "Hey, let's go tonight, John." Oh, okay, cool. And so he comes and picks me up, and he takes me to Uncle Willie's. That's how we started. And I'm like, "What is this place?" He's Uncle Willie's. I go, "What? I just died and went to heaven." So I just paid the money and like just ate and ate and ate. And then what was his name? John was his name. John. I'm like, "This is it. This is good enough. We can go home now." And he starts laughing. He's like, "What do you mean? This is it. It's good enough. It's what we need to do tonight." But since then, my appetite's decreased. I don't do those buffets anymore. I think I learned my lesson. I went home with a sore belly too many times. But what does that have got to do with anything? If I would have known about the Dharma when I was in Uncle Willie's, I could have been offering it out like mad. I could have ate to the point of being stuffed and offered every bite, and would have gained massive amounts of merit. But instead, it was all about me. So that karma ended. The karma of that ended. Yeah. Yeah, my dad is getting surgery tomorrow. We're going to go see him, and he has a tumor on his bladder. They don't know what it is yet, so they're doing a biopsy tomorrow, and they're going to check it out. And plus, he has pain there, So he's worried. We're all worried. The doctors say his blood doesn't show sign of cancer yet. They've done blood tests. It doesn't show any sign of cancer yet. And they say, yeah, we'll take this thing out and we'll cauterize the wound, which will stop the bleeding, which he's experiencing blood in his urine now. And that's how my mom went, right? My mom went in for like a test, and they said, "It's all good. We got it all. You're very healthy." And then 2 weeks later, she was gone. Right? Not maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks later. They cut her open. She went back home. Everybody's all happy, and mom's okay. The cancer's all gone. And actually, we were in the middle of a Lojong class when the phone came through, and it was Brian, my mom's husband at the time. Yeah. They had to rush your mom back. The cancer just went crazy inside her body. She's got 2 weeks left to live. It was crazy. It was just crazy. He couldn't even talk hardly on the phone. He was crying so hard. And I came back in class, and I just got that news. Okay, my mom's got 2 weeks left to live. I just sat there in class, and Christine was there too. And I said, I just got this call from Brian. Mom's on her way out. She's got 2 weeks left. And what are we going to do? So we finished the class, right? We sat and finished it because that's the kind of the highest thing you could do in that situation is do some dharma, right? So we did some Dharma, and then we got in the car and took off to Prince George and got ready for Mom to die. And then she died in a hostel, pain free. And she waited, right? She waited until everybody was there. Everybody was gathered around her bed. It's funny because she had her her niece, could only be there for a few hours, and she happened to be there that day, and her brother Fred. The combination of those two people could only happen in this certain 2 hour time frame, and she knew that, and she waited for that time frame, and we were all gathered around her bed. She just took one last breath, and she was gone. You know. So I don't know what's happened with my dad, right? And it's so easy to not think about death. It's so easy just to, oh yeah, I'll start my 6 times book next week, right? I'll do my practice tomorrow. I'll start tomorrow. There's a lot of tomorrows. And then tomorrow's like, yeah, I'll start tomorrow. Oh yeah, I did a 3 times book today. Tomorrow I'll do 6. And we just have no idea. We have no idea, when the Lord of Death will come knocking on the door. Because what would you do, right? What would you do? How would you live your life, and what would your practice be like, and what would you think was important if you really did like death awareness meditations, if you thought about your death enough? See, that's in the Lam Rim. That's the very beginning in the Lam Rim. That's like these monks typically don't go any further until they've graduated, until they've like realized or had some kind of realization of the death awareness path. They achieved the path. So then they're not concerned about certain things. Like their body to them is like a hotel room. Right? It's like they know that they're not staying there too long, And so, but I don't think we do it very much. We have death awareness meditations, and we talk about them, and we can sit in class and go, yeah, we don't know when we're going to die. And I guess the only thing at the moment of death that's going to help us is the Dharma. Yeah, okay. And then, as soon as class is over, we're checking our iPhones or who's texted while we're in class. It's like, and then it's forgotten again most of the time, until the teacher says it again. And I think that it would be good if people thought about their death more, especially in the West, I think. Maybe people that are less fortunate are closer to that. Maybe they understand more. They don't have as much. I don't really know. But that's supposed to be like, I don't know, what is it, when you go to college, the first courses you get, what are they called? Something 101 or something, I don't know. Right? That's supposed to be like, you're supposed to like have that down already. But usually it takes, we get some kind of scare. Usually it takes someone close to us dies, or, we get sick or something and can't practice all of a sudden and realize we've been taking it for granted, or, things like that can happen. Because I don't know what my dad's going to be thinking if he's, I don't know what he's thinking right now. about his life? I don't know. And what if he hears he's got 3 months to live? I don't know what he's going to be thinking. What's he going to do? What's he going to do with 3 more months? I don't know. I know I'll visit him more. I'll visit him more. What's he going to... So, what's it like for somebody who is getting on in their years? Like, what's it like for somebody when they're 80? And they just know, no matter what, whether they get sick or they don't get sick, they know at that point. I mean, they're lucky if they got 10 more years. Lucky if they got 5 more years. Like, what are they thinking about? What are they thinking about? And how are they looking back in their life? It's just we don't think about it. We don't think about it. We just don't go there. And you can get them, in retreat, it's kind of like a side effect of retreat sometimes. If you do like a retreat and you're doing, you'll be 2 weeks in or something like that, and you can get this strong. You can get this, crap, I'm going to die. And it'd be like, oh yeah, I really am going to die. And you start thinking about that, because everything's going to go. All these things that you think you are, right? All these things that we take for granted as being me, that if we haven't lojonged, right? If we haven't thought about them enough, then they're so strong, right? If we can't plant different karma in our mind to not be so attached to this idea, this concept. That's all we are. We're a concept. We're no different. Like, our experience of our own self and all the mood swings and thoughts and things that we take for granted about what we think, our opinions, that's no less a concept than our concept of someone else. It just feels like so close. It feels like this is what I am. We talk about this a little bit later in class, about making the mistake. It's in the Freedom from the Four Attachments. It's like making the mistake of thinking that the morality I have that prevents me from killing someone when they bug me is somehow what I am. That's not what you are. That's a karma, right? That's a buckchuck. That's a seed from another lifetime, right? It's no accident that when someone completely pisses you off, that you don't pull a knife out and slit their throat. But this is the me I'm talking about. The thing that goes, yeah, I would never do that. I would never do that. That's the me. That is a projection. It's a concept. It's a result. And that can change. That can change. So doing these Lojong practices, trying to really, really defeat the enemy of self-cherishing, goes a long way against that, because you begin to see, over and over again how this me arises, right? Me. It's all about me. And you're always going after it as a Lojong practitioner. You're always going after it. It's like you become obsessed with this one thing, the me, right? And it's like it's it's cold in here.
Cold.
What about me? I'm cold. Something's gone totally wrong in my life. My body temperature is lowering. But the dragon slayer, right? That's the dragon. You want to slay something in your life, slay that, right? The mythical, you want to get the girl, right? If you want to get the boy, right? All the fairy tales, right? And the boy gets the girl gets the boy, but always something is slayed before that gets to happen. Always, there's a dragon that goes down. Right? There's a villain that gets what he has coming to him. Right? That's right. Every story, every fable, every movie that we see, however you perceive that's coming from your mind. That's arising as a manifestation of the stream of your mind reflecting in upon itself. And you get to watch, okay, what's the state of my mind? What is the state of my mind? Well, what does your world look like? Is the people that are talking to you, is it Manjushri? Is the person speaking to you like rising up to you, and are they appearing to you as Manjushri, flanked by two bodhisattvas, giving you a direct teaching of the four agreements? I mean, the four freedom from the four attachments? Or are they three other kind of dudes? Or are they three Jehovah's Witnesses coming to your door in suits, handing you pamphlets? But it's like that, and and it's so funny because in the stories, it's the male and the female. Finally, everybody wants that, right? That's what we want. We want our suffering to be over. We want this aloneness to be over, and yet we're so trying so hard to be alone, right? How are you like? We're like, okay, we watch these shows, and then the villain gets destroyed, and then the boy and the girl meet. You can see that as your male and your female, your opposites coming together and uniting finally you're free of the disparity in your life. And there's only one way to go there, and you have to take down the villain. You have to take down the me that cherishes itself in a constant stream, or you'll never get the girl. You'll never get the boy. In other words, your two channels will never unite, because the villain will always be there, running around, ruining everything, like that villain's been doing for countless lifetimes. So now's the time to do it. You don't know how many years you have left, right? Get on the horse and get the lance out, and spear the dragon. That the dragon is the demon that is taking you down, making you get sick, making you get old, making you die, and has done so over and over and over and over again. So do something about it, because no one else is going to do it for you. No one's going to do it for you. I can say these things, but I can't do it for you. No one can do it for me. No one can do it for anyone else. But isn't that interesting, right? We always hope, we want the unification to happen, but we're trying so hard to be alone without knowing that we are, right? Every time, like the example of There was a piano recital. I don't know, a couple years ago. Nick's one of his piano recitals. He has kids, and one of the big things they do is they offer up a chocolate fountain. And it's like they're already busy enough. They're already busy enough running around trying to get their kids ready, but somehow they end up presenting a banquet style. Usually there's one or two fountains that are spewing out chocolate, surrounded by strawberries and little things like this, right, that you dip in the chocolate. And the kids are absolutely, completely insane. I mean, I never seen kids that insane before. They're just like, and they're running around and they're freaking out and they're butting in line. They're trying to get to the front, right? And it's the thought in your mind that looks at the fountain and is gauging if there's anything left, right? Gauging like that's starting to slow down a little bit. How much chocolate is going to keep coming, right? And then that thought that wants to make sure that you get in that lineup so that you're not the one standing there when the thing goes, when the chocolate runs out. The thought, that little sneaky little thought in there that looks over there and just wants to make sure that you're not the one standing in line when the chocolate runs out. That little thought is the thing you have to annihilate from your mind. And that little thing has been running the show. And it's so, normal. We're so used to it. It hides in all the little corners, right? And that's what Lojong is for, is to bring that thing out. You're calling it out, okay? This is what you're doing with Lojong. You're calling it out. You're saying, okay, I've had enough of you. I'm calling you out now. And be ready, because it's going to be a fight. It's not, that dragon or dude or villain, it's not going to go down lightly. It will definitely put you through some stuff before it goes down. He's got skills. He's got skills, that thing. He's got such great skill that it will use your Lojong practice. Hey, you know what? I know Lojong. I'm a Lojong practitioner. In fact, I'm quite good at doing Lojong. Ooh.
What's Lojong?
What's Lojong? Right? And then oh, look at that person over there. They're sure not Lojonging. They're sure not Lojonging that situation. But I would have Lojonged that. It's endless. It will use anything. That's why we're going to get 18 pledges. We're going to get 18 pledges to safeguard us and help us win the Duke. We're going to duke it out with this thing. We got to somehow come out, and at the very end, the referee's going to raise our hands up. The bell's going to go off and be like, yeah, total enlightenment. The knockout punch is seeing this directly. It's like a KO. You defeat ignorance. You go. I don't know how many rounds you go in the ring, right? I don't know how many lifetimes you go in the ring with that sucker that's out to get you. But when you see him this directly, bang! That's the shot that takes him out. Mm-hmm. And the crowd is full of bodhisattvas who cheer. They just roar, yeah, another one. Another Arya has been born. So we're in the middle of this 7, and right now, we're going to jump for a second and then go back to the 18 pledges, because we're going to talk right now about part of the 7th one. Yeah, part of part 7. And there's a reading that starts out with, act now, do the most important thing, don't get it backwards, don't be on and off. Pretty straightforward. But then it says, make your mind and stick to it. And then it says, figure out both and free yourself. So we'll quickly talk about that. Figure out both and free yourself. So this is one of the 7th parts. This is one part of part 7 on the instructions on how to develop a good heart. And this part is certain advices on developing a good heart. So this verse, figure out both and free yourself. Another pithy Lojong statement, right? Figure out both and free yourself.
Can I ask where that is?
Yeah, in the reading, are you looking at the reading?
I'm looking at the notes, I guess.
Don't try and figure it out with the notes. This is a very crazy class. It jumps around. But in the reading, if you read the reading, I can tell you what pages are in the reading. If you read the reading, it's page 25 of the reading.
Did we do part 6?
We're going to do part 6 right next.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
he didn't want to dive into it because he wasn't going to finish it, so we skipped to 7 and we'll go back to 6 very shortly here.
Okay.
Any second. Right, so actually in the notes, if you really want to look at your notes, it's page 26 of the notes of class 5. Certain advices for developing a good heart. And act now, do the most important thing is basically what I've just been talking about. Crush the tendency to watch out for yourself first. So, okay, here we go. Figure out both and free yourself. Figure out both. There's 2 ways to think of figure out both. I mean, no, there's two parts, both. The first part is figure out your worst mental afflictions of the past. What is your worst mental affliction of the past? And concentrate on the biggest one first. What that means is figure out like if you look back on your life in the recent past and even maybe distant past, so there should be one that's the worst. Everyone has their own particular special mental affliction. That will be the worst one.
Can there be 2?
Yes, Yulia, there can be 2.
I seem to have more than just one that I've been lost. You're tied?
Well, yeah, I mean, most of us have more than one. I mean, but usually like there'll be one main one, like the one that's got the superpowers, that's driving all the rest of them. And for a lot of people, it'll end up being some kind of pride issue, and pride feeds everything. And pride just you take any one of your mental afflictions that you're having, like jealousy, anger, greed, whatever it is, you can trace it back to pride every time. So, but that pride will manifest strongly in certain ways. And some people it's jealousy, some people it's greed, or some people
It's gonna be low self-esteem.
low self-esteem. Yeah, that's a big one in so many people suffer from low self-esteem. It's just sad. It's just sad. It's so crippling. Low self-esteem is so crippling. It's ridiculous, right? And is so related to the non-virtues of speech. Oh yeah, like it's so related to the non-virtues of speech. Divisive talk is such a bull crimper for your karma. It just annihilates you, and eventually you just feel crappy about yourself, right? Gossiping about others, eventually you're just going to feel like crap about yourself, and you won't be able to escape it. You know, in the same way that you corner somebody by the water cooler, right? You corner somebody and guess what I heard about this guy? You know, did you hear about so and so? You can't believe he did that? What a jerk! And they're like, yeah, you know, or they're trying to get away, and you just got him in a corner. You're getting all this glee from it. Well, guess what? Guess who's caught in the corner? You with your own mind. Later, there's nowhere to run. You're just like assailed by low self-esteem. Nowhere to run. So you look in the past and you think, okay, what's my worst mental affliction, and what is the thing that triggers it? What is the object that triggers
Is that B? Or
No,
part
no.
two?
No,
Oh.
that's part of one. And two is figuring out how to stop them in the future. So it's like one is the past, my past mental affliction, and number two is my future mental affliction. So number two is like, okay, how am I going to stop them in the future? Well, I know, I'll get enough sleep. I'll eat right. Like I had one of my girlfriends that I had for a while. It took her a while to figure this out, but she was one of those people that if she didn't eat a steady supply of small meals all through the day, she just like was not a nice person. And she would just get so cranky, right? And then she went to a dietitian, and they said, well, you know, they tested her blood and stuff. You go, yeah, you've got the same. If you don't eat in 3 hours, then you know people around you are going to suffer, right? So if you know that about yourself, you know, pack some cashews. I don't know, like you know, save the world with some cashews in your pack, like that. Like figure it out ahead of time. So you're like your affliction of the future. What are you going to do? And also know if you need to avoid the situation. Know if you're strong enough. Like if you're not strong enough to go into the situation that you know usually freaks you out, then do yourself and everyone else a favor and don't go. Right? I did that for 3 years in my house. I stayed in the basement. Not the basement, it was upstairs. I was such a mess that it was like just interacting with the world was the thing. And because I couldn't stop myself from just trying to be somebody, no matter what I was doing. So, and it was so glaringly obvious that I didn't have the strength to stop it. So I just didn't go out for a long time and just like meditated and worked on it that way. And then I would make appearances and check it out. And okay, no, I'm not ready to leave the house yet. You know. And then I was. But that was not fun, right? That was a hard time in my life. That was a hard time. And I look back at that, and I'm so thankful that I did it. I'm so thankful that I went through that. It was hellish, you know. I faced my worst mental afflictions, just about died doing it, and I came out. And it was hard. And it was a good 5 or 6 years of intense low self-esteem, suicidal thoughts. Came very close to succeeding at suicide. Really, really bad. Really, really bad. And then, the karma evaporated. I purified it. It was gone. And I would not trade that time in my life for anything now. But when I was in the middle of it, I would have traded anything to be out of it. Yeah, it was not a fun, it was Horrorland in my head. It was not fun in my head. And what other world do you have except for the one in your head, right? Look in the mirror every night and just like hate myself. Look in the mirror every night and just like, another stupid day. You failed again today. Oh, the glory of it. The glory of, But if you're smart, you'll do it quicker than that. If you're smart, you'll face the storm quicker, and you'll know about karma. I didn't know about karma then. I wasn't planting any seeds. I was just like trying to survive. So the next one says, stop thinking all the time about how wonderful you are. That's what it says. Stop thinking all the time about how wonderful you are. And this is for 2 reasons. This basically means when you finally go out and do something right, don't get too enamored with yourself. You are wonderful. You are very wonderful. You're a very beautiful being. Don't be like that about it. Right? You are wonderful. There's a certain number of people in this room, if not all of people in this room, who will become important spiritual guides for other people. Some of you already are important spiritual guides for other people. You have some wonderful qualities. You're doing amazing things. But as a Lojong practitioner, that's not the kind of wonderful they're talking about. They're talking about getting all, oh yeah, I'm so good because I'm doing my Lojong, right? And they say for 2 reasons not to get too enamored with yourself. One of them is because people are suffering and they need you. Right? They're dying. They need your help. And the second one is you're supposed to help them. You're a Dharma practitioner. You took vows. You're supposed to do it. Don't get all hopped up in yourself because you're doing something you're supposed to do anyway, like that. And then the last line in that verse says, don't expect any thanks. And this refers to 4 things. And if you don't know this already, you might as well get used to it. Especially when you start, no one's going to thank you. Okay, no one's going to thank you for beetling away into your room meditating and doing all this practice and ACI homework and stuff. No one's going to be giving you constant thanks. Okay, so you can't be doing it for that reason. So don't. It might never come. It might never come. No one. You may never get a big thank you, right? You may never get a big plaque that says, "Look at Sarah. Right? Look what she's been doing." Right? And it's it's not supposed to be about that. So that's the first one. Don't expect any thanks in that way. The second way is don't expect any help from others. Right? That's like, whether anybody helps me or not, I'm going to do it. Like, nothing will stop me from doing this practice. It's very liberating when you get to this point of, I don't care if I get thank yous, and I don't care if anybody helps me. You know, I have enough. I've passed a certain point where it doesn't matter now. Nothing will stop me, right? And then the third one, don't expect anyone to say anything nice to you.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, kind of like a thank you, I guess. But this is more like, someone come up to you after 5 years of practice and saying, oh, you're doing such a nice job. Great job. But that probably will happen. I know my lamas, they're always, saying you're doing well. Unless I need to hear that, not hear that. And, I try to be encouraging. It's like, but that shouldn't be the reason, right? You shouldn't be practicing, like, to hope that your lama or someone says to you, like, you're doing really good. Anyone see the movie Whiplash? Yeah, it's a great movie, but it's a movie about a drummer and a teacher, and the teacher is really hardcore. But in the movie, the teacher pulls this person up to like the peak of their ability, but pretty much mentally abuses them on the way. But in there, he gives this little talk at a table, and he says, there's no, what did he say? The two worst words to put together, or the worst thing to ever tell anybody is good job. Which you could take lots of different ways, right? But it's like, for him, it was like, if someone's doing it to hear good job and you say good job, if that's their motivation, well, then you kind of just screwed them over, right? So, but we should know when to say good job, because someone bloody well needs to hear a good job, so like that. But it's not about that. It's about your motivation. And then the fourth thing, don't expect reputation or fame out of it. So these are all very similar, right? Don't expect reputation or fame. Basically, if we're doing our Lojong, if we're doing our Dharma practice for any of these reasons, then it's like, you spent all this time trying to make a nice loaf of bread, and then it just collapses on you. The dough just doesn't rise, right? It's like a lot of the energy is ruined. A lot of the merit is ruined if you're concerned about whether your good deeds are public or not, or getting, if you're getting accolades, then all your good deeds are, yeah. So now we're going into the 18, and we're actually officially starting class 6, if you can believe that.
Yes.
So we're going into the 18 advices from the 7-point Lojong, and it starts with keep to the 3 laws. So it says there's 18 of them, but there's really only 16 if you read them, because one of them has 3, which is the 3 laws.
Are you,
Hey, how's it going? Good, how are you doing?
He's soliciting for garden. Planting seeds.
Oh, yeah, yeah, sorry. So, what do you need to do? Yeah, I just need a phone number. Okay, 604. Yeah. 725.
Can somebody tell me what do these people do? Gardening. Gardening.
You're gonna call me.
Yeah, it could be. And can you give me authorization for the phone call?
Or how would it?
It's like signature. Thanks, man.
Have a great night. Have a nice night. He wants to mow my lawn.
Thought so.
Okay, so it starts off with keep to the 3 laws. The first law: never contradict what you have committed yourself to. Never contradict what you have committed yourself to. So what that means is, don't act like a crazy yogi Lojong person and decide that, okay, now I'm gonna be so austere, I'm gonna sleep on the street now. I'm not gonna worry about my body because I'm too self-cherishing. I'm gonna stop cherishing myself. I'm gonna it's gonna all be about my practice now, and to heck with my body and the sleep that I need, and I'm just gonna do some crazy yogi practice now because that's what crazy yogis do. That's like counter to the Dharma. You have to take care of your body. So this is actually kind of like the second one too. So the first one's really about your vows. Like, it means like, just because now you're going to be a crazy yogi who does the opposite. Oh, the crazy Lojong yogi is just secretly acting and thinking the opposite to what everyone else is thinking, like, right? Making sure someone else gets something first instead of them first, which, sad to say, just happens to be the opposite of how most people seem to think, right? So it's kind of a little bit sad, isn't it? that this is like some secret club of people that are like secretly going around and being unselfish. It says something about the world we're living in. So basically, don't disrespect your other vows. That's what it means. So never contradict what you have committed yourself to means don't contradict your other vows. That's the first law. The second law was actually more of what I was just saying. Don't place yourself in danger. Don't hurt your body or do some harmful practice where you put yourself into some kind of danger. Because your body and your life is very precious, and you need a nice place to stay, a nice place to study. And the third law is don't discriminate between people. It's like in a Dharma community, you'll find this. You may find this. Like, if someone in the Dharma community has a mental affliction attack, and everyone is, they're very supportive, So and so is, jealous, and they all come into their aid, and you try this, try that. We understand, but then you go home, or you go into the world, and someone in the world has the same clay attack, and then it's like you judge them or something. You don't try to help them because they're not in your little community, right? It's like just watch for that, right? Because ultimately we want equanimity, right? So you watch for anything that's not equanimity in your mind about anything, about whatever it is that you're doing. So here's the fourth pledge now of the 18 pledges. Change your mind and stay the same. Change your mind and stay the same. What does that mean, Leonardo? What do you think it means? Change your mind and stay the same.
Well, do the things that you need to do to change, but to become a good person
Mm-hmm.
that helps others and a bodhisattva thinking person, acting person. Stay the same. Keep that constant. I'm guessing here, just keep that constant vision in your mind to do that. So the things you need to keep the same things you need to change those things.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's wrong. Just kidding. It's only half wrong. But I like it a lot. You're doing a good job, I'm sorry for picking on you.
Yeah, okay.
But it was very good. Don't change your mind and stay the same. Basically means on the inside, you're changing your mind. On the inside, you're taking what maybe used to be a mind that was steeped in ignorance and had a lot of ignorant desire and ignorant aversion, and rooting those things out and changing your mind into a mind that's, the renunciation is growing, right? Day by day. The bodhicitta is growing. The wisdom is growing on the inside. But nobody knows, because on the outside, you're still the same. You're still wearing jeans and t-shirt.
Shave your head and wear monk's clothes.
Yeah, you're just no one knows what you're doing because you're walking around acting like a normal person, but in the inside, you're totally changing. People don't know what lineage you're studying, and people don't need to know how many ACIs you've done, or people don't need, like, you just act like a normal person. You know, slowly the sphere of influence of taking care of people around you spreads and spreads, but they don't know that you've done 18 ACI. You know, they don't know that you're walking the streets of Vancouver as a Marroquí. You know what a Marroquí is? Probably not, right? A Marroquí would be you get a Maroc when you do 18 ACI. There's a thing that happens called a Maroc, and everyone comes, all your friends come, family comes, and you get asked questions, Dharma questions, and you're given 100 questions to study. It's really cool, and then people get to ask you these questions, and then if you can answer the questions properly, enough of them properly, then the Maroc master says, "Oh, what do you guys think? Are they good?" And then everybody goes, "Yay!" And then you become, and then you give your first teaching as a person who did all 18 ACI courses. That's really fun. Mm-hmm. When I was doing it, I was like, it was way too short. The questions were just, keep them coming, come on, keep the questions coming, right? Because you're ready. If you've done 18 ACI and then you get the 100 questions to study, that in itself, right? Imagine having 18 ACI courses in your head, been teaching a bit, and then have 100, probably the 100 that Geshe Michael wrote distilled down to, okay, these are the 100. That's an amazing practice to have to study for those. And then just be like, okay, I don't know who's going to ask me what. That was fun. So anyway, but no one needs to know about that. So pledge number 5, speak not of what was broken. Speak not of what was broken. This means don't worry about other people's dharma mistakes. There's only one person's practice that you should be worried about, and guess whose that is?
Yours.
Boyfriend's. What?
Yours.
Yeah, your own. Yeah. Lord Buddha tells a story about that. Like there's a famous story he tells as an example of these monks that were in this monastery, and then one of the monks is going out to the village and teaching the Dharma to the lay people. And a bunch of people are amassing around this one monk, and he's doing a good job teaching people. And this one monk in the monastery is getting angry about it and saying, you shouldn't be doing this, right? And he goes and talks about it and creates dissent in the Sangha about this one person who goes out there and is benefiting people. And so he actually creates a rift in the Sangha about this guy. Because he's judging the guy's Dharma practice. He's judging his Dharma mistakes that he thinks he's making or something like that. And the moral of the story is when he dies, he ends up, he's like a dog for 500 years, and then he's in a hell realm for lots of lifetimes. And then, and the Buddha tells the story, he says, and that was me.
Mm-hmm.
That was me, I did that. So, don't make the same mistake. Speak not of what was broken. Because we don't really know what people are doing. We don't know how they see themselves or why they're doing things. Pledge number 6. Never worry about what they are doing. So this is similar to number 5. But this means more like worry about your own practice first and don't talk about other people's practice. So this is more like don't keep someone else's book for them, right? Just worry about your own practice. It would be crazy if I went up to Yulia and said, can I see your success book? I'm going to write in something I saw you doing. I mean, that would be like that. I mean, if you started talking about someone else's practice, you might as well just grab their book and say, I saw you do this weird thing. I'm going to write down it in a negative spot for you, right? And just like that. Pledge number 7 of the 18. Identify your own worst mental affliction. People are good at figuring out like their third or their second. The first is sometimes elusive. To admit the worst one is sometimes difficult. So like Yulia has been talking about having 2, it'd be interesting for you to find out like if you really feel too strongly, is one stronger, or do they run in tandem? It's just. But in any case, finding out the strong one. It's brave, right? If you practice hard enough, often enough, you'll just become obsessed with it. You'll just be like, that's the thing that you want to take down. And it'll be very clear to you. If you practice hard enough, meditate enough, it will be very obvious to you what your worst one is. If you don't, it won't be so obvious. It won't be so clear. And maybe other people have to tell you. You can ask. Geshe Michael Roach for a while was doing this thing where he would get people to ask their friends, what's my worst mental affliction? What's my worst mental affliction? And then just see what comes back. See if it's the same thing that you think is your worst mental affliction. See if they equal each other. Pledge number 8. Don't hope for any rewards. So this means know the time gap, because you will get rewards. Of course you will get rewards. You will get rewards like gravity. Karma is karma. Karma must, right? If you go back down to the very basics of what the Buddha said about karma, you will get rewards from your Dharma practice. Any time you do a Dharma practice, you'll get a sweet result. What this means is don't expect instant results. Karma is a result of a cause. It doesn't work overnight. And that can be hard. That can be tough. You can be practicing sweetly and purely and really still be afflicted years in. But you know if you're getting happier. You know if you've made some headway on that, if your karma's coming through. Pledge number 9. Stop eating poisoned food. Stop eating poisoned food. What do you think that means, Carol?
Oh.
Of course, it's going to be this is Lojong. It's, what could it possibly mean? Stop eating poisoned food.
Gosh, wish I looked.
You wish you looked. Ah!
But I think it's all the above. It's all the above. It's thinking of the self. It's acting for the self. It's concern, that being the primary concern. That governing one's all. And I should be able to break it down more than that for a nicer answer, but I can't. That's what I got right now.
No, that's. Very close. You might have even have said it. It's all this. We've already said this already. Really, it's like stop eating poisoned food means when you finally getting around doing some good doing some good deeds. Oh no! When you finally get around to doing some good deeds, don't poison them with what am I getting out of it? Right? Am I getting what I want? So basically, what you said. Because you're not self-cherishing. You're not doing all those things that are not Lojong.
Could it also mean not exposing yourself, your senses to poison, like too much TV, wrong magazines, reading,
Well,
that kind of activities as well?
Well, this verse doesn't apply to that.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay.
But of course, of course, we should be careful about that. But this verse specifically isn't talking about that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like people around you are, suffering, depressed, ready to commit suicide, and you're just worried about yourself. Even though you have all these things going for you, you've got this great Dharma practice going on, right? And these people don't have enough money, major problems.
So it's a poison food of self-congratulation.
Yeah, the poison food of like worrying about the
And
poison food of like, what am I getting out of it? What am I getting out of this Dharma practice? What am I getting out of it?
So what's in it for me?
What's in it for me? Yeah.
Self-interest.
Yeah. So to mix those ideas with your virtues is like eating poisoned food. It's like eating poisoned food. When I was in church the other day, and I asked the minister he was subbing. He was a sub. I said, how are you? And he said, I'm always good. Okay. All right. Good. And then he said, I used to worry about myself, you know. But then one day someone said to me something I'll never forget. He said, I was worried about having no shoes, then I saw someone with no feet. Right? He gave me a sermon right there on the spot, before church even started. Right? Yeah. You can always find someone who is worse off. Lama Marut used to, his big thing for a while was like, you should carry around a picture of a child living in the streets in Calcutta. When you get all whiny about your problems, pull out the picture and tell him.
Mm-hmm.
Tell him and see what he thinks about your problems, right? Pledge 10. Don't let the stream flow smooth. Okay, Mariska, your turn. Don't let the stream... Yeah, I mean, no one expects you to get it. don't let the streams flow smooth. What could that possibly mean?
She knows.
I don't.
No,
Oh.
She doesn't got her binder. She doesn't know. It's...
Oh.
Yeah, I wouldn't guess this. Sarah, don't let the stream flow smooth.
Well, the only thing that came to mind was the like stream of thoughts about yourself.
So fight them.
Yeah.
Don't let them be smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It's wrong.
What's my turn?
Yes.
Don't get too comfortable.
Don't get too comfortable. I like that one too. It's also wrong. Actually, but they're both kind of right too. You know, this is the beauty about Lojong, right? Anything that you say, that's going to be good. It's going to be a good answer, right?
As long as it's about.
As long as it's about getting over self-cherishing, yeah. So what this means is putting up a fight when you're having a mental affliction attack. That's all. Don't let your mental afflictions run smooth.
Oh.
So, similar to what you guys were saying, but
yeah,
it's like...
Because thinking about yourself is a mental affliction.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the big I, right?
Yeah. So if you happen to be in the middle of an anger fit, this is the thing about anger, though, especially anger. It's when you're in the middle of an anger fit that, it's almost impossible to stop that sucker.
But it's when you have best energy to stop it.
Yeah, right. You're all supercharged up, right? Punching holes in walls.
Yeah. Just
So
need something to redirect it.
Yeah, so this is talking about the virtue of putting up a fight. You're having some jealousy attack, some anger attack, some low self-esteem attack. It's like wreaking havoc in your mind. It's like, don't let it run smooth. In other words, don't lie down and let it just roll on through like, nice to see ya. Because putting up a fight, and actually if you've taken your Bodhisattva vows, then you would know, the course, you would know that even putting up a small fight prevents you from breaking the vow. Right? So it's very powerful karma. Putting up if you're experiencing jealousy, like so many people experience jealousy, if you're experiencing jealousy, then, that's a pattern. That's a thought rut. That's a groove in your mind that's been playing that you came into this lifetime with. Right? People aren't born jealous. People are born jealous. Right? You don't just you're not born blank and all of a sudden, for some weird reason, you have jealousy and anger and low self-esteem. So when you finally put your gloves on and say, okay, I'm going to duke it out with this jealousy thing or this low self-esteem thing, it's a huge virtue because you're finally stopping that cycle that's been wearing a groove into your mind stream for thousands of lifetimes. So it's tons of virtue to simply put up a fight. That's what that means. Don't just let it flow smooth. Put up a fight. Pledge 11. Don't pay back in kind. This must sound familiar for some people. Don't pay back in kind. Yulia, you're up. What does it sound a lot like? Don't pay back in kind.
It sounds like number 10.
Well, if you think of the Bodhisattva vows, don't pay back in kind. Don't respond in kind.
Oh, to
Right?
somebody
Don't pay back
who,
in kind.
who treats you poorly.
Yeah, the 4 points of virtue, right? So, so there was 4 ways. There was 4 ways in the Bodhisattva vows, right? When someone criticizes you, when someone physically harms you, when someone yells at you, and when someone's angry at you. All those 4 things, it's very un-bodhisattvic to respond back with the same thing, right? It's very bodhisattvic to stop the cycle right there. It's very bodhisattvic to stop the cycle of pain right in its tracks with you, I'll do it, right? I will stop the cycle. I will be the last one. I will get yelled at. Okay, fine, right? I will get yelled at. Fine, right? Okay, you can be angry at me. Fine. I will be the last one in this trail, and it will not continue any longer, right? Okay, yes. You just punch me right in the face. Jesus said, turn the other cheek, give another one to hit. That's what Jesus said. He was all over this. Jesus, I think, was the ultimate Lojong practitioner and teacher. I really, the more I study him, the more I study this, that's all he was doing. He was running around teaching Lojong. And basically saying, here's how you learn how to walk on water. Right? If you wanna be at a house party that they've run out of nachos, and you want to be the guy that says, well, bring me the empty bag, and then the nachos just keep on coming out, then give him the other cheek, right? Done punching yet? Give me the other cheek. I gotta give you the other cheek. It stops right here. Hard to do it sometimes. Because of that thing that wants to go, right? How dare you yell at me, right? How dare you scold me? How dare you physically harm me? What will everyone think if I don't punch you back? What will everyone think if I don't yell back? What will everyone think of me if I don't scold you back? If I don't, right? This is it. That's the demon right there. Number 12. Give up laying ambushes. Who wants to try this one?
That's the baiting one. Is it the baiting? Baiting?
No.
Oh.
No.
Sorry, I jumped in there.
No. Does anyone want to try?
So
Give
it
up laying
sounds
ambushes? People are shaking their heads. What's that?
Trying to plan how you're going to trip somebody else up.
Yeah. So it's like somebody hurts you, and then you're just thinking of a way to get them back. That's planning an ambush. Right? And then when they're hurt, you're very happy.
Revenge.
So, give that up. Stop doing that. Yeah. Number 14. Load your own truck, no passing the buck. Load your own truck, no passing the buck.
That's in here.
13. Responsibility.
Yep. That's pledge number 14. Load your own truck, no passing the buck.
What about 13?
Oh, sorry, pledge 13 was no. Oh God. It's all ruined. Pledge number 13. No going for the jugular. No going for the jugular.
Go for their weakness.
this is what, okay, here's a scenario. Here's how you would go for the jugular. You're in a group of people, and somebody has made a mistake, and then you have a chance to embarrass them in front of everybody. And it would hurt them if you did, and you just go for it. That would be like going for the jugular, so don't do that. Don't do that. You know? And God, it's so crazy, like how it is that you can have these things in your mind. Just some little secret wish to, expose someone's faults so that we do it. I've definitely done it in my life. Pledge 14, load your own truck, no passing the buck. So this is an interesting one. Someone speaks the truth about your misbehavior, especially in an open group, in front of a group of people. So you've done something, you've misbehaved in some way, and you're in a group of people, and then someone says it out loud. You've been misbehaving in this way. And passing the buck would be you suddenly divert the attention towards something bad they've done, and so all eyes are on them, and they're off of you now, even though it was true what they said about you. So basically, you're just like passing the buck. You're diverting the attention. It's, if you've made a mistake, it's very good. It's very bodhisattvic to admit it. Okay, I did that. It's very unbodhisattvic to then try to run from that or divert that so that no one notices, right? And then someone else gets the glaring attention. It also applies to if you're doing something like some kind of project and it doesn't work out, don't take the responsibility. Don't be, just happily take the responsibility and don't think, well, it would have worked out if so-and-so had done their share, right? It would have worked if, he or she had made those phone calls that they said they were going to make. More people would have been there, and we would have made some money instead it was a big loss. Instead, just say to yourself, okay, well, we tried and didn't go over. It's awesome that we tried, and I take responsibility for it not going over. Awesome. And never, letting those thoughts cloud your mind of thinking it was anybody else's fault.
So you would think that way also in a marriage, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. That's a good one. That's a big one, right? How many conversations have we all had in our lives about, the couple, about the one that's not there, right? This thing is failing. This marriage is failing because of this thing that they did. Da, 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 da. Yeah, it's really cool. You can get so good at this that you're constantly taking the blame for everything. Even, if you can't find something, right? If you need something and you can't find it, you'd like, well, there it is again. I never provided. I never provided something. I didn't make sure someone got something they needed it when they needed it, right? And it's like you get so good at that anything that ever, you're to blame for anything. You're to blame for all the good stuff, and you're to blame for all the bad stuff that you're trying to pull off in your life, and don't have enough money to do this or that. You're like, well, I guess I shouldn't have done, or go down the street and you know, give a guy a toonie who needs it because he's hungry, and then you go down the street and you only have $5, but the thing you want to buy to eat is $5.99. And you think, it's not because you gave that guy money. It's not because you gave that guy food. It's not because you dropped a toonie, right? Like, it's because of something you didn't do in the past. And you just get so good at being constantly aware of all the little things that are happening, right? You just take full responsibility for everything. Pledge 15. Don't get fixed on speed. Don't get fixed on speed. This is another Jesus one. Jesus said this. The last shall be first, and the first shall be last. The last shall be first, and the first shall be... I mean, this could have been in the verses. He could have wrote that. I guess he did write a bunch of like Lojongs, right? Love thy neighbor. Love thy enemy. What was it? Love thy enemy as if they were your neighbor.
No, love thy neighbor as you love yourself.
As you love yourself, right? There you go. Love thy enemy though. There's something about love thy enemy. He's got a whole bunch of them, right? But here's the last shall be first and the first shall be last. So this means you'd be fixed on speed if you made sure you were first in line, right? This is a chocolate fountain situation. You know, you'd be fixed on speed if you made sure that you were in line before the chocolate ran out, right? That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. That's okay. Do you have to go? Okay. Chanjit is needed.
I turned it off. That always happens. Sometimes
you
calling
needed
us to
to-
get through.
But you
had to get it,
you
right?
had to get it, right?
Had to get it.
Yeah. We'll just keep on going, okay?
Thank you.
So it's like bodhisattvas should be last. You should be the last in line. You know? And it's amazing if you get good at this, because if you always make sure you're last in line, just amazing things happen. You know, amazing things happen. You end up having everything that you need without having to get in any kind of line. Because you always make sure you're last in line. Okay, Pledge 16. Don't feed the wrong face. Don't feed the wrong face. This must apply to some of those, like, you know, gods who have 14 heads. Better make sure you're feeding the right one. Right, Leonardo? No? I'm wrong. Wrong. Also, that would have been my guess.
Don't feed pride, don't feed the negative mental afflictions.
Well, sure, it's all going to come down to that, but this is one more time they're saying, because it's saying feed the face, a Lojong is supposed to be starving self-cherishing, right? It's supposed to be starving self-cherishing. So if you do your Lojong and you use your Lojong as another opportunity to feed a mental affliction, like like I said before, I know Lojong really good. I'm so good. I'm so hot at Lojong. I'm such a good Lojong teacher. La 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 la. Right? Then you're feeding the wrong face. You're feeding your pride. You're not actually feeding your Lojong face. You're feeding your pride face. Maybe like I'm teaching Lojong, and then I hear about someone in Abbotsford's teaching Lojong, and I'm like, I get jealous. I get jealous because someone in Abbotsford's teaching Lojong too. Suddenly, I have fed my jealousy face instead of my Lojong face. My Lojong face gets fed when I go against those things, when I go against my self-cherishing. Pledge 17. Don't turn the sweet angel to a devil. Don't turn the sweet angel to a devil. This is a very almost identical to 16, and actually might be identical. And that is, who is the sweet angel? What is the sweet angel?
Virtue, good deeds.
Yeah, and in this case,
Thinking
starts with an L.
love.
Love, yes. Another word starts with an L.
Another one?
Another word.
Lojong.
Lojong.
Oh.
Licorice.
Licorice. Lojong is the sweet angel. You turn it into a demon, right? You turn the angel into a demon by doing your Lojong with the same old mental afflictions that have been hurrying you along your whole life.
So how do you ensure that you don't do that?
You're watchful, right? Yeah, you could have these 18 things in your pocket and just check. You have to be honest with your mind, right? And you could be like, oh God, there's still some part of me that wants to make sure I'm not the guy in line when the chocolate runs out.
Can you put
And if that's the case, you make sure you're the guy that's the last in line. You see, it's like that. You're in the thing. The kids are all going crazy with the strawberries, and you're like they're just eating and eating and getting a sugar high, and the moms don't know what to do, and it's like they've gone back. They have no sense of lineups. It's like completely a foreign concept to them. It's like they're just coming in all angles, and you're just standing in line and watching the chocolate get smaller and smaller. And if in your mind it's like, I hope I'm not the guy, then you make sure you're the guy. You Lojong it you're like, oh yeah, I just got a phone call, and you walk away, and then you get back in the line again. And the whole time you're like, your mind's going, you idiot. What did you do that for? You're not going to get any chocolate. Then you go, oh, gotta go to the bathroom. Then you go to the, disappear for a second, come back to the end of the line again. And you watch that chocolate get smaller and smaller. And your mind goes, you're so stupid. You're not going to get any chocolate. You go, oh, gotta go do something. Yeah, I forgot my, yeah, I gotta be back. So you go, and then you come back to the line again. That's what you do. That's what you do. You sure as hell don't stay in line. If that's going on in your head, the last thing that you want to do in that situation is get some chocolate. That's the last thing you want to do is get some chocolate. So that's how you turn it into a demon, is by not doing that. Being prideful about how good you're supposed to be. I'm so amazing, you know. I rarely think of myself. My thinking of myself is down to just an hour a day now. It's so amazing.
It's a big improvement.
It's a big improvement. Wow. Who can I tell? What's that?
Is it 1/24th?
1/24th.
It might be a big improvement, actually.
Yeah, I was just thinking.
That would be
You can rejoice that you actually think less of yourself.
Oh yeah.
So what was the question?
Well, yeah. You can definitely rejoice. I mean, if you happen to notice that, wow, I think of myself less, you bloody well should rejoice. Yeah, that is something worth rejoicing for. You have accomplished something, right? You have accomplished something. But if you then go, and aren't I the bomb, right? And aren't I and aren't I so great? Is, in other words, and aren't I better than other people? Right? You know. Wow. I really just, I'm down to an hour now thinking of myself out of a 24-hour period. I'm so amazing because everyone else is doing it for, right? Everyone else thinks of themselves 24 hours a day. I'm so amazing. That's poison. That's poison. That's a quick way to turn it into back to 2 hours. 3 hours, 4 hours, then you're back to 24 hours again. You'd be lost. Last one, I'm going to stop. Pledge 18, which is actually cool because the way the order of the classes go, the freedom from the four attachments is supposed to be the beginning of another class. So it will be the beginning of next class. We'll do a nice freedom from the four attachments class, which is what I was hoping was going to happen. So the last one, Pledge 18. Don't look for crap to make yourself happy. Don't look for crap to make yourself happy. Anyone want to try it?
Yeah.
All right.
So I think that it's looking for other people's errors, faults to make yourself feel superior, to feel bigger, better. Other people's crap, so you can compare yourself and think, wow.
Yeah, that's it right there. It's not quite it. It's very, very close though. It's very, very close. The only stipulation is this is specifically when you derive pleasure when something bad happens to somebody else. So it's everything you're saying except the added element of ill will, right? One of the 10 non-virtues, right? You had this opinion of them for years in your mind, and finally they went bankrupt. Finally they got a divorce. Finally they lost their job, and you're like, yeah, that proves I was right. You have something in your heart that's going, yeah, they finally got what they deserved. That proves I was right. They're a jerk, right? And wouldn't be in here unless we were doing it, right?
Oh.
Yeah, and yeah.
So I have a question.
Yes, Leonardo.
Could you put them in your 6 times book, some of these pledges? Or are they already incorporated in our vows and our yearly vows?
Well, this one definitely is.
Yeah.
Um,
Could you put them in?
but you're sure you could. Why not? You could. I mean, really, you could take those 18 and you could run them through your book. That'd be cool. You could write one of them. Don't turn the sweet angel to a devil. You could have like this really cool thing in your book, and you'd know what it means, right? And then you'd be watching your pride, right? You'd be watching, am I prideful about my virtue? Is my virtue I do feeding my pride? So am I turning the sweet angel into a devil? And you're just like, okay, yeah. I did it. I did that. And then every single time you're aware that that happens, it's one more chance to purify your mental affliction. It's a direct shot at samsara.
These would be good to do this week. I want to do this week then. And then.
Yay, Carol! Woo!
Yeah. I mean, I can
Aren't
see
they great?
I mean, I can see. I have to say some of them, I have to struggle with. I go, don't destroy the city. Oh God, how am I going to do that, right?
Yep.
But this, like, oh yeah, right. I can
This
immediately.
this feels like directly applicable.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, that's a rant. Thanks for coming out. We'll get Julia to lead us off again.
I apologize in advance for Geva because I never can get it right. So you just have to use this glitch in my mind. Sashi Puji Jukshin Meito Tram Rirabling Shi Yendegen Padi Sange Shindu Mite Uwa Gidro Kunamda Shingwa Chupasho Yanguru Ratnamado Kamiritayami Geva Dike Wogu Sunam Yeshe Zozokshin Sunam Yeshe Lejum Wei Dampakuni Topasho.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep teaching.
Please keep teaching.
Okay. Tu insistes. Ça?
S'il vous plaît.
S'il vous plaît.
Pardon?